Top 20 Kenyan politicians whose lives deserve a movie. Forget Hollywood. Kenya's politicians are already living the most dramatic, outrageous, and inspiring stories on the planet. From music stages to courtrooms, state house to scandal, these 20 lives deserve to be full-length feature films. And number one, you won't believe how wild it gets. Number 20, Uhuru Kenyatta, Born to Rule. Tagline, Legacy or Liability. A prince in a young republic, Uhuru's story is Shakespearean. Groomed by Moi, rejected by the people in 2002, and reborn in 2013 as president. His relationship with Ruto, once brothers in arms, later bitter rivals, adds political tension. His presidency is marked by massive infrastructure growth, but also ballooning debt and corruption scandals, Eurobond, SGR deals. Then comes the handshake, a move that shocks the nation and splits his own camp. The film ends with a brooding Uhuru at Ichaweri, reflecting on betrayal, dynasty, and whether history will judge him as a hero or just another son of a king. Movie hook. Did I lead or was I led? 19. Hassan Joho, the Sultan. Tagline, Style, Power, Loyalty. Joho's movie is part gangster flick, part redemption arc. From the streets of Old Town to leading ODM in the coast, he reinvents what a politician can be. Gucci wearing, gym built, and jet setting. His battles with Uhuru Kenyatta are headline material, public spats, state intimidation, and near-arrest scenarios. But beneath the flair is a loyal ODM soldier who delivered votes and holds the coast under one flag. His relationship with Raila, music culture, business ventures, and rumored underworld ties makes a layered story of loyalty, ambition, and image-making. One iconic scene, Joho performing live with Ali Kiba while political rivals scheme behind closed doors. Movie hook. He ruled the coast like a king, with designer suits, celebrity friends, and a loyalty that came at a cost. Number 18. John Chiari, the creative-turned-politician. Tagline, From punchlines to policy wars. Satirical drama with a tragic undercurrent. Once Kenya's sharpest political satirist in the ridiculous crew, KJ's film starts with him mocking MPs on national TV. Fast forward, he's elected MP, walking the very halls of power he once ridiculed. His transformation from comedy star to reformist politician wins admiration, until the 2024 protests, where his remarks about protest photos being AI-generated sparked national outrage. Cue public backlash, online roasts, and a man torn between loyalty to party and truth to the people. Movie hook. What happens when the king's fool becomes king and the laughter stops? At 17. Okia Umtata, the people's lawyer. Tagline, Courtroom gladiator versus the state. Quiet legal drama with a pulse of revolution. There's no glitz here, just a man with papers, statutes, and courage. The opening scene, Umtata limping into court after a beating by state agents, still submitting his petition. From stopping illegal taxes to halting unconstitutional laws, he fights the system daily. Unlike many, he doesn't chase headlines. Even his Senate win in 2022 feels like an afterthought. The emotional high point? Arguing a case alone while state lawyers snigger, then winning. Movie hook. How do you dismantle tyranny when you don't own power? Only truth. 16. Okoth Obado, Scandal and Shadows. Tagline, Success, Seduction, and Suspicion. This is a noir thriller. Obado rises from obscurity to become Migori governor, championing development and rural transformation. But the mood turns dark when he's linked to the shocking murder of Sharon Otieno, a pregnant university student. The film follows the investigation, public outrage, and courtroom battles, leaving audiences questioning truth, power, and justice. Juxtaposed with scenes of county leadership, roads being launched, and rural hope, this movie plays like True Detective meets House of Cards, with a moral question at its heart. How well do we know our leaders? Movie hook. He built a kingdom from nothing, until a murder turned him from governor to suspect in a national nightmare. 15. Boniface Mwangi, the activist with no chill. Tagline, The protester who won't sit down. Social justice thriller, part documentary, part drama. Boniface's story begins with blood, his lens capturing the horror of 2007-08 post-election violence. What follows is relentless resistance, graffiti on State House walls and tear gas-laced protests. His failed bid for parliament becomes symbolic, not of loss, but of choosing revolution over compromise. A scene targeting his car, his kids screaming in the background, is a gut-wrenching climax. Yet he marches on because silence is complicity. Movie hook. What happens when activism becomes a life sentence? 14. Charles and Jaguar from stage to state. Tagline. Mic check to mic drop musical drama meets political reality. Jaguar's journey from Matapili and Kigigu fame to parliament is a flashy rise. The film opens with roaring crowds, stadium concerts, and music videos, then shifts to tense political debates and public backlash. The climax? His explosive anti-foreign trader speech that triggers a near-diplomatic crisis with Tanzania. As his political influence wanes, we see a man wrestling with identity, celebrity or servant. Movie hook. When your voice moves a nation, what happens when the crowd stops listening? 13. Anne Wiguru, The Survivor. Tagline, scandal-proof, bulletproof. A political comeback queen biopic. Waiguru's rise is meteoric, one of the most powerful female technocrats under Uhuru. The NYS scandal nearly buries her, but she doesn't disappear. Instead, she reinvents, reemerges, and wins Kiranyaga's top seat, survives impeachment, dodges smear campaigns, plays kingmaker in 2022. The film focuses on a woman who plays hardball and thrives where many fall. Movie hook. How does one woman outmaneuver every trap laid to end her career? 12. Evans Kidero, From CEO to Courtroom. Tagline, boardrooms to barbed wire, corporate thriller meets political drama. From pharmacist to CEO of Mamaya Sugar, then Nairobi's first governor, Kidero's movie is a story of precision and power. Early scenes show corporate brilliance, but things unravel fast. Allegations of massive corruption, land grabbing, and shady payments paint a man on the edge. Courtroom cross-examinations and media chases fuel the drama. Movie hook. When clean hands turn dirty, how much is survival worth? 11. Felix Oduor Jalas, From Mic to Parliament. Tagline, laughs, loyalty, and the hustle to power. From village life in Homa Bay to the bright lights of comedy and radio, Jalango's movie opens with a boy mimicking radio hosts in class. A pivotal moment comes when he lands a role on Papa Shirandula, skyrocketing to fame. But fame isn't everything. His move into radio faced ridicule, and his ambition to be more than a funny man led to betrayal and backlash. His 2022 campaign for Langata MP was a turning point, mocked by elites, doubted by peers, and hit with corruption rumors after victory. The emotional core? A man trying to prove that a joker can lead and not everyone's laughing. Movie hook. Can a clown rewrite the rules of power without becoming part of the circus? 10. William Kabogo, The Dawn of Thika. Tagline, muscle, money, and megaphones. Kenyan gangster political hybrid. Kabogo's film starts in the backrooms of business deals, his wealth rising fast as whispers swirl about underworld ties. Enter politics. His speeches are raw, his moves ruthless. As MP and governor, he plays both godfather and governor, gifting jobs, threatening rivals, and commanding Thika like a personal empire. But 2017's election changes everything. Betrayed by his own, Kabogo watches his grip slip, his name tarnished. In the quiet aftermath, he must confront the man behind the machismo. Movie hook. What's left when the throne, the crowd, and the money are gone? 9. Karen Yamu, Love, Law, and Limelight. Tagline, scandal, spotlight, Senate. Political soap opera with feminist undertones. A bold, unapologetic woman in a man's world. Nyamu's film opens in courtrooms and county boardrooms, but soon spirals into tabloids and Twitter threads. Her publicized romance with Samido turns messy. Dubai drama, social media brawls, and constant public judgment. Yet, she wins a Senate seat, commands attention, and refuses to dim her light. Movie hook? Is she reckless? or rewriting the rules of female power in Kenya. 8. Ferdinand Waititu, The Fall of Baba Yao. Tagline: From city champion to scandal symbol, populist rise and fall tragedy. Waititu's story begins in the gritty backstreets, where he champions hawkers and slum dwellers, speaking their language, literally. As governor of Kiambu, he becomes a folk hero. But the walls crumble quickly: ghost workers, inflated tenders, and bizarre public statements, hospitals for drunkards. When Parliament impeaches him, Baba Yao is seen crying in court, once loved, now laughed at. The movie ends with him wandering through political limbo, still claiming to fight for the people. Movie hook: Can you be a man of the people and survive the system's rot? 7. Mike Sonko, The Flashiest Governor Ever. Tagline: Bling, power, and the fall of a kingpin. Think Scarface with Snapchat filters. Sonko's film opens in Nairobi's rough Eastlands, street-smart, bold, and unpredictable. From MP to senator to Nairobi governor, his ascent is fueled by wild charisma and gold chains. He rules with flair and fear, handing out money in sacks, confronting police on live TV, even rescuing citizens from injustice. Then comes the storm: leaked phone calls, corruption charges, suspension from office, and eventually, jail. Yet he still has massive public love. One of the most surreal scenes: Sonko crying in court wearing Versace sunglasses and quoting the Bible. Movie hook: When gold chains turn into handcuffs. 6. Johnson Sakaja, Nairobi's Young Lion. Tagline: Brains, swagger, and scandal. Sakaja's film opens in the lecture halls of the University of Nairobi. Or does it? A youthful genius with political finesse, Sakaja becomes a nominated MP at just 26. The soundtrack is hip-hop, the tone is bold. As senator and later Nairobi governor, he battles cartels, fights for urban renewal, and rebrands the capital's image. But ghosts from his past, degree authenticity, nightlife controversies, and internal political wars cloud his legacy. The film is a coming-of-age tale about a brilliant mind walking a tightrope between reform and ruin in Kenya's most unforgiving city. Movie hook: In a city that devours its leaders, one young prodigy dares to lead, with charm, controversy, and a past that won't stay buried. 5. Babu Owino, The Unfiltered Firebrand. Tagline: Rebel, ruler, risk-taker. Urban thriller with psychological edge. From Nairobi University chaos to Parliament floor, Babu's story is one of raw defiance. The film opens with fire and protests, Babu leading chants, facing arrests. But things turn darker: gunshots in a nightclub, DJ evolve paralyzed, a nation enraged. Yet Babu survives, debates fiercely in Parliament, and keeps trending online. Viewers must ask, is he reformed or just refined in how he fights? Movie hook: What does it cost to stay relevant in a system that devours radicals? 4. Martha Karua, The Unshaken One. Tagline: Steel and stilettos. Her film is a courtroom drama meets political thriller. Karua, once the only woman in a male-dominated cabinet, stood firm in the 2007 election crisis, defending a controversial presidency while fighting for electoral justice. Her resignation from Kibaki's cabinet over principles made headlines. Known as the Iron Lady, she challenged toxic patriarchy in politics, ran for president in 2013, and almost became Kenya's first female deputy president in 2022. Her battles with Raila, Uhuru, and Ruto would provide sharp dialogue. Quiet moments show her alone, writing speeches that shake Parliament, never compromising, always fighting. Movie hook: In a world that demands silence from women in power, hers is a voice that never flinched. 3. Rigathi Gachagua, The Iron Deputy. Tagline: From Moi's desk to Ruto's right hand. Then enemy number 1, Gachagua's story starts in the trenches of struggle. Born into a family tied to the Mau Mau rebellion. Raised on tales of resistance, he rose through Kenya's civil service ranks as a district officer and later as a personal assistant to President Moi, sharpening his political instincts behind closed doors. After years in the cold, he shocked the nation by becoming deputy president. His alliance with William Ruto was unexpected, but explosive. With firebrand speeches and a combative, unapologetic style, Gachagua won admiration and ridicule in equal measure. He was called everything from the truth-teller of the mountain to a national embarrassment. But behind the bluster, storms brewed. His wealth came under scrutiny. Over 200 million Kenyan shillings frozen in a high-profile corruption case, later released. Then came betrayal. As internal rifts widened, Gachagua was impeached, unceremoniously removed from the DP post in a move that split the ruling coalition. Once the right-hand man, he became the loudest critic. His exile turned into a mission to reclaim Mount Kenya's political voice and challenge the very president he once served. Movie hook. How do you survive betrayal at the top? From deputy to defector, this is the untold rise of a future presidential contender. 2. Raila Odinga, the eternal candidate. Tagline: jailed, betrayed, but never defeated. This would be a Game of Thrones level saga. Son of Kenya's first vice president, Raila's life takes a tragic turn during the 1982 coup attempt. He's imprisoned for nearly a decade. No trial, just darkness. He emerges defiant, forming opposition parties, facing brutal state repression, and constantly coming within inches of the presidency. 2007's post-election violence becomes the film's emotional peak, with scenes of chaos, betrayal, and loss. Add in the handshake with Uhuru, seen by many as selling out, and the heartbreak of the 2022 loss to Ruto, and you've got a man forever chasing the crown, yet still carrying the hopes of millions. Movie hook. He sacrificed everything for a nation that kept him on the edge of power, but never let him rule. Honorable mention, David Maraga, the judge who said no. Tagline: when justice roared back. His movie is a legal drama with the soul of a revolution. A quiet Seventh-day Adventist with an iron spine, Chief Justice Maraga stunned the world in 2017 by annulling a presidential election, the first time in Africa's history. Amid pressure, threats, and political fury, he stood firm on the Constitution, declaring, "The greatness of a nation lies in its fidelity to the law." Cue scenes of courtroom tension, spiritual conviction, and lonely defiance at the highest level of power. His story is about a man who refused to bend, even when the entire system leaned on him to. In a nation where courts were once rubber stamps, Maraga became a symbol of judicial courage. It's A Few Good Men, set in Kenya's Supreme Court. Movie hook: one judge, one ruling, and the day justice shook the presidency. 1. William Ruto, the hustler president. Tagline: from mud to State House. This is a gritty rags-to-riches political thriller. Ruto begins in rural Sugoi, hawking chickens. He enters politics through Youth for KANU 92, allegedly linked to financial scandals. But Ruto is no pawn. He studies power and plays it better than his masters. From ODM kingpin to ICC suspect after the 2007 violence, he rises alongside Uhuru, only to fall out in a brutal succession war. Ruto fights the system, brands himself the hustler, and beats the odds in 2022. The movie climaxes with scenes of betrayal, prayer rallies, backroom deals, and a triumphant ride into State House. But Act 3 takes a shocking twist. In 2024, the very youth who cheered his bottom-up promise, take to the streets, Gen Z rebels armed with smartphones, hashtags, and rage. Tear gas clashes, digital dissent, and raw betrayal define this final arc, forcing Ruto to face the haunting question: what happens when the hustler becomes the system? Movie hook. He clawed his way from chicken seller to president in a political underworld where loyalty is fatal and power is priceless. These politicians have lived through betrayal, fame, prison, power, and redemption. So which one deserves a Netflix series first? Who did I leave out that deserved to be on the list? Drop your pick in the comments, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. We've got more for you.